Continuing with economic growth. In the previous class, we talked about economic growth, development, and sustainability. Today, we're going to actual and potential growth. But the focus today is going to be on actual growth. What is an actual growth? An actual growth is simply talking about you measuring your real GDP. So it's always going to be in the short term. You're using your output, but you're not exploring the potentials. You're not exploring what you can do more. You are still limited to the demand within the economy. The other point about actual growth here. Actual growth is all about you giving out what is being requested of you. That's actual growth. So it simply means the demand for this country is what we are producing. That's actual. We're not taking further. When we start thinking further about our output, then we're talking about potential growth. When we are able to explore. But presently, we are producing with spare capacity. That is the point. So which simply means there's room for improvement. Now if whatever we produce still gives room for improvement, it simply means we are still in our actual growth. Do you get actual growth here? So yeah, actual economic growth, of course, the real GDP. The real GDP of a country, yes? So it's actual growth because the real GDP of the economy is increasing based on short-term economic performance. So when we talk about short-term economic performance, it's simply about the demand within the economy. So we produce based on what is needed within the economy. So literally, we're talking about aggregate demand. So when everything we do is about producing to meet up with the demand within the economy, it means we are actually growing. That's our actual growth. It measures your real GDP. GDP adjusted for inflation. Actual growth is driven by demand. That is the point. So there's actual growth because we think more of what is being consumed now. That is what we produce. Through the PPC, actual growth is the movement from inside the PPF towards the frontier. So the movement is still inside the boundary, but still inside the PPF. Any movement around the PPF is an actual growth. Because we have not reached our potential. Potential is what we can do further. But if we are still producing inside the PPF, we are still in actual growth. Movement from A to B is an actual growth. For potential growth, it simply means there's an outward shift, but we're not there yet. So let's forget about potential growth here. So this economy can produce more than what it's producing. So the economy might have been having, let's say, consumer goods here, capital goods. So the economy is moving from producing less of consumer goods to produce more of capital goods. In as much as it doesn't get to the frontier, it is still actual growth. So movement towards the frontier is an actual growth. So you can represent actual growth with the production possibility curve. As well, you can represent it with aggregate demand curve. Do you get the point I'm making here? The PPF, whatever we produce inside the PPF is considered as actual growth. Movement from A to B is actual towards the frontier because we're still producing within this capacity. There's spare capacity. There's room for improvement. Do you understand? The movement from point A to B towards B is considered as an actual growth. It can also be represented using the aggregate demand curve, as AD is a short-term factor. Aggregate demand is what is aggregate demand? Aggregate demand is consumption plus investment plus government spending plus export minus import. That's aggregate demand.
Yeah.
Do you get it? So whatever increases here, if this increases aggregate demand increases, if this is aggregate demand increases, if this increases aggregate demand increases. So whatever we have here is still in the short term.
This also was in the formula used to let us the GDP statistics.
GDP.
Yeah, one of the formulas is the same exact one.
This is for aggregate demand. GDP is output. So whatever we have here will increase our aggregate demand. So a movement, a righteous shift from AD to AD1 is allowing us to understand that output is increasing from Y1 to Y2. As income, national income is increasing. National income is increasing from Y to Y1. And that will bring about an increase in aggregate demand from AD to AD1. And that will increase price from P to P1. This is short term. This is short term. There's spare capacity. We can still do more. So it is assumed that this economy is operating below its capacity. There's a spare capacity. And that is why we call it actual growth. Because it's strictly about short-term demand. Do we get it?
Yes.
So in the exams I'm going to ask you, illustrate with a graph a short actual growth. So if I ask you to illustrate with a graph actual growth, you can either draw this or this and make your explanation. Actual growth means the economy is operating movement, there's movement within the economy from A to B or from X to Y towards the front here. Aggregate demand is increasing from AD to AD1 as the real income is increasing from Y to Y. But as aggregate demand increases, price level is expected to rise. Price level is expected to rise because it's going to be about demand to inflation. Demand to inflation. Any question about actual growth? Yeah. In the next time, we're going to talk about potential growth, then actual and output gap. Output gap. Output gap is the difference between the potential growth and the actual growth. So if the potential growth is increasing more than the actual growth, that is a positive one. But if the actual growth is less, that is a negative. We're going to talk about that in the next class anyway. But today's focus is about actual growth, and the graph that represents actual growth is either the PPF or the AD curve. Any questions about actual growth? Thank you.